training while you're injured. And I guess it's going to be different for competitors, obviously, versus like, regular hobbyist people.
Yes.
I mean, let's just be honest. Guys are going to train injured regardless. So,
yeah, no, of course. And like I said, there are definitely ways to train around your injuries. So depending on what the goals are and what the situation allows for, you can absolutely cater your training so you can still get a good workout, get better, drill specific things that don't put whatever specific body part at risk. A lot of times it's going to be a lot of taping and bracing that actually is involved, but you can absolutely do situationals that could keep yourself out of danger and respect the fact that you have an injury.
Can you give us some examples?
Sure. So let's say that you do again, depending. So it's going to be different for everybody, and depending on what the injury is. So if you strained your neck's not feeling great that day, and you don't want to put it in a compromising position, passing, defending the guard is usually a good option. If you can have a partner that wants to work on some guard stuff and you can pass, as long as there's not a lot of like pulling down on the collars, you can drill and work on things that work really well in that sense, that without putting that a lot of extra strain and torque on that neck. Taking the back from turtle is another option. Again, the guy on top, if he has a concern with his neck, working there to then work to kind of just establish hooks, get the control, do whatever situational scenario involves that doesn't involve you putting yourself in that compromising position. And like I said, bracing, wearing a brace and doing stuff is better than anything else. Especially if it's something as simple as like a knee or an ankle, you can absolutely find just over the counter at CVS or Walgreens or any of those type of stores that you can do and get yourself a good ankle brace, a good knee brace with stability bars that you can work around and not put yourself in a bad spot.
Say you have like a knee injury, like how could someone train around that?
Again, depending on what's going on, if it's like kind of a meniscus injury, then that would be like more compression, and you want to kind of avoid anything that's going to kind of deep bend. So again, hard passing, stuff like that should be okay. If it's something that is kind of a stability issue, then you don't want any kind of like lateral movements and stuff that's going to put that under torque and under pressure. So you may need to kind of figure out ways that you can kind of work on situations that don't compromise the knee. So again, depending on what your game is, deep half guard, that might be an option.
Deep half guard, yeah.
Deep half guard, the guy on bottom. There's very little situations where you should be twisting your knee underneath deep half. So, and same with the ankles. If the ankle's not doing too great, there's going to be some times where you have to kind of bridge and push off, but you can work a specific side that whenever you are sweeping, you're going away and not using that as your dominant foot to push through. There are ways to do it, and it's not going to be ideal all the time. And you may have to kind of work on some things that you kind of get creative. But drilling is always going to be a better option versus live resisted training while you're injured. Because again, not having that resistance, you can still kind of move and take care of yourself without putting yourself in a compromising position or being afraid of what your partner is going to do as a reaction to put yourself in trouble.
So we've been talking a lot about injuries. Can you tell us about a time where you had to come back from like a serious injury of your own?
Yeah, of course. Worst one that I ever had, I tore my ACL, kept training, and then tore my medial meniscus as a result because of that extra movement in my knee. This was during PT school, so I had to wait a couple of years before getting surgery, and that took me out basically a complete year from training with that surgery recovery. Essentially, I did the normal kind of post-op PT protocol, and little by little kind of worked on getting back range of motion, flexibility, strength, moving, timing, all that sort of stuff. Did that for a while. And then when kind of normal kind of gym, I went back to kind of normal like gym, lifting weights type of exercises once I was kind of ready for that. And when I kind of got to the point where I could see the end of the tunnel, so to speak, and I knew I could be back training within the next couple of months, I actually picked up yoga, that would help a lot with flexibility and just general body weight strengthening things. So kind of that body awareness and movement and flexibility. I felt yoga was very, very helpful in getting me back to where I needed to be, where I could and then train again. Initially coming back, I probably took about a month to ramp up. You were there, you were helpful. I met up about an hour or so before class, and we would just drill, and it was simple. I think I started doing hip skates. Like it was like, all right, we're gonna start from scratch because I got to kind of retrain my body. And the first time I tried to roll inverted, I just kind of flopped to the side because I didn't have the core strength anymore to get myself up. It was pretty pitiful, but yeah, it was just a lot of patience, and little by little got back. And I mean, I got to the point now. I mean, work and everything else is keeping me out of training the way I want to. At this point, but as far as injury goes, I mean, I ended up competing again after that ACL tear. I was at a brown belt level at the time, and I placed at the tournament. It was good, and that was kind of the first IBJJF tournament like comeback for me after that sort of serious injury. And I survived it. I did well, and this knee, knock on wood, has
knock on wood.
Yeah, knee's been good. That's the least of my concerns right now. Right now, I'm nursing a shoulder injury.
Oh, no. So what are you going to do with your shoulder injury, like, as far as your training? Can you walk us through, like, maybe a little bit of the PT you're going to do, and then maybe the training stuff?
I'm fortunate in the sense that I do have a little bit of knowledge and that I can I figured out what happened and what I needed to do. So it was a weird position. I got put in almost like essentially what was like a full Nelson type position, and my arm
Jesus.
like stretched just right over my head. So based on that, I didn't feel anything pop. I didn't feel anything tear or anything crazy. I do not think it's a severe injury at all. My shoulder just feels weird. Absolutely got stretched way further than it liked, and knowing the position and kind of understanding it a little bit, I have an idea that it's probably like that upward rotation on my shoulder blade is what got stretched out. So retraining and re-strengthening my downward rotators, my low trap specifically, is where my focus is going to be as far as my rehab with that. So working on that shoulder setting and stability, initially just kind of getting the strength back in that, and then once I feel that my shoulder is stronger again, I'll do a lot of kind of like weight bearing, perturbation type stuff on the boat to do kind of like plank positioning on a ball, moving stuff back and forth, just kind of getting that rotator cuff strong and then that arm stable again, and the shoulder blade, the scapula stable again. That's my plan.
And then going back to training, like, what are you like watching out for? Like,
well, one, you just got to kind of protect yourself. That's obviously the biggest thing. I did train last night. We did a lot of situational stuff. We did some taking the back stuff, and everything worked out to be fine. That wasn't an issue for me. There was one point where the guy kind of got high. I was in turtle. He got a little high with taking the back, and I tried to kind of like back out and push him off me. And as I did that,
this one?
as I did that, he clamped down on my shoulder, on my arm. It hurt. It's like, done. Again, this is not a bad injury. It just doesn't feel right, and I don't want it to turn into anything bad. So me going for doing like some situationals and working on some stuff here and there is not going to put it in any compromising position. That it's going to be fine. I just needed to know where my limits are and not do anything stupid, such as live sparring and live training, where I could put myself in that position. I made it through 2 rounds before I got caught in that position. And I immediately stopped, and that was it for me for the night. It was okay. It was good training. I got a good sweat. I learned some good details. I rolled with a couple of guys that are really tough, and I was able to work that scenario without putting myself in trouble, and I felt good about that. But yeah, as soon as it came up and I did feel that tweak, it's like, all right, well, that's good for me for tonight. So I was saying I took a couple of rounds off. Didn't finish out the entire class, but I still got a good workout in. I was sweating. It was fun. I enjoyed it. And I'm no worse for wears today than I was yesterday from that. So I'm happy. I can still move forward and work on what I need to, and I'll be fine.
Are you watching out for like who you're training with, or like, I'm talking about like?
Not particularly. There are people I avoid that I just know are not very smart and are probably going to end up hurting me. But for the most part, I don't really pick and choose my partners. Most of the time, I wait for people to come to me, and I'll just roll with whoever. a lot of times where I can't really do anything against people, and I'll just work on defense, and that's okay too. That's not. I'm not in that competitive mindset again, like I was before. So I am happy just to take it easy and train light with folks who need light, and then if something is getting beyond me, I don't have an ego in the sense that I don't care if people do smash me, and I'll do the best I can to defend myself. You're not going to get an easy tap on me. But I'm not going to get sucked into crazy and wild.
What it kind of goes full circle. So we talked about like the injuries mostly come from like the scrambling.
Exactly. Exactly.
So as far as like how to prevent future injuries, like what's good advice for, up and coming people starting out, first day jiu-jitsu, like what are some things they should be like watching out for?
One, just kind of being aware of the situation, which is going to come with time and experience. Unfortunately, that's not something that new folks are going to kind of get right away. Knowing your body, knowing what hurts and what you need to protect. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a self-defense art, and the whole point is not to give up things that can put you in a compromising position and hurt you. Correcting some of the imbalances that we have. We spoke about this before, and some other issues, some other topics that this come up with us before. We all have a dominant side. We all like to pass one way. We all like to play God. Working both sides is very important to kind of correct those imbalances. Understanding what we are doing. Jiu-jitsu, everything is tight. Everything is forward. We're always crunched up in a ball. Knees are on elbows. Everything that we do is kind of flexed and keeping tight. So on the offset, you do need to stretch out those flexor muscles, your hip flexors, shoulder flexion.
Oh yeah, Jesus.
All these things, especially if you have a day job, that you're sitting in a chair and sitting in a computer, you're in a ball all day, and then you're choosing a hobby where you're going and sitting in a ball all night. You do need to take some time to kind of reverse that and correct that. So a lot of those kind of hip psoas, hip stretches, shoulders, chest, all those things need to be kind of worked on so we don't end up unable to stand up straight.
Yeah, just like, I always feel that way after training.
Yeah,
just like it doesn't like now. So after training, I'm just like.
Yeah, because everything we do is so it's so tight. When you're passing guard, you're bent over. When you're playing guard, your feet are up. It's just we're never in a position where we're in extension. We just aren't. It's not part of our game.
I think the answer is yes, but like, would you consider jiu-jitsu people to be like really imbalanced? Like,
oh yeah, exactly for those reasons that we just spoke about. But again, not. I mean, in general, yes, but not across the board. And not for a lot of guys that cross train. So anybody, if you do other sports or you have other workouts and things you do, but if your entire life is jiu-jitsu and your only sport or hobby is jiu-jitsu, and then you're also sitting at a desk all day as part of your job, then yes, we are injuries waiting to happen. We are very imbalanced there. There's no question.
So what are some things or activities or hobbies people could do to like kind of counterbalance those imbalances?
I mean, taking this time to stretch, gym exercises, working on strengthening some of those weaknesses, working on those imbalances, playing both sides to your game.
I know.
Making it a conscious effort to pass to your left dominant side or play guard on the wrong hip. Working with people who are left-handed versus right-handed, like those are natural things that guys will do where they'll choose to go to their dominant side. So being able to do things on both or having strategies to do stuff on both is going to be helpful. And then again, I mean, like I spoke about yoga earlier, which I don't want to repeat myself on that, but you can't really stress the benefits of that enough. Yoga has a lot of poses and a lot of things that do open up and go into that backward bending, spinal extension kind of moments, which is basically the opposite of what we do for jiu-jitsu. So having that as a counter is very, very helpful. Unfortunately, I haven't done it in years. I used to live right by a yoga studio that I could walk to, which was amazing. Honestly, probably the best I've ever felt, like physically with my body and stuff. I was doing jiu-jitsu 4 times a week and then yoga twice a week. It would be like Monday. Yeah. It was like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, jiu-jitsu, and then Saturday training, like hard training we did Saturday. And then I would do Tuesday, Thursday, yoga. it would like almost like undo the damage that I did from jiu-jitsu. Not real damage, just like kind of like me just feeling just beaten up and sore. Not real damage.
Yeah.
It wasn't like an injury or anything else like that at that point. It was just, the grind. So honestly, I felt great. And my guard got really good because I was flexible.
You're going to turn into Ryan Parker?
No, I'm not that crazy. I won't be getting a license plate. I won't quit to be a yogi. It doesn't interest me that much, but it is something that I did enjoy for the time that I did it. And like I said, I could 100% see the benefits.